I'm I'm pretty excited right now. So just got a new miner in. It is the IceRiver KS2. I'm sorry if my shoes are so loud. This is a Kaspa ASIC miner. This is like right in the middle of their whole line. Let's review the IceRiver KS2. Let's kind of find out the real world mining profitability. I'll take you into the miner. We'll run through the setup. We'll run through kind of the current status on Kaspa and Kaspa mining. There's a lot of information that's unique to this crypto that if you don't understand it, you may get yourself wrecked. But let me also assure you that the opportunity has not passed. And also a huge shout out, seriously, because time is absolutely of the essence right now to ASIC Marketplace for getting us this miner quickly. It makes a difference, seriously. If Kaspa mining interests you, but you don't actually want to run a Kaspa miner, then there's Revolution Mining, who now offers hosted Kaspa miners. Learn more about them with the link out in the video description below, but more importantly, punch in the code VoskCoin to save some coin. Also, just installed this meter box over the weekend. Ironically, our edition just landed, so we collabed with them to make a VoskCoin edition. I need to get some black screws or something for this, but these are really cool because they let you see real-time power draw. I'm using the Altair PDU, which basically gives me all this data. But it's nice to, double check whatever. I think these are very well suited for a mining environment, period. So if you want to save some coin, punch in code VoskCoin in all those places, support the channel, all that. Honestly, I really appreciate it. If not, well, all right. I get it. So this is the IceRiver KS2. It's an ASIC miner. It mines the Kaspa cryptocurrency. I'm gonna fire this bad boy up on NiceHash though, which will basically make this a Bitcoin miner essentially. I'll get paid out in Bitcoin even though it's mining the KAS crypto coin. So I need to go head over to the farm, get a different power cable. I only brought one over. I don't know why. I like redoing my work, I guess. And then I'm running Ethernet over a power line adapter, just like we did in the last house on the last garage. And it's like, well, why are you running miners in your garage? I thought, the whole point was like build a farm, bro. So the reason I'm running miners in the garage is it's cold here. So it's free heat. I'm gonna run the miners anyway. Why not, get some free heat? Because this free heat, one, makes the garage a lot more enjoyable. I work on cars in my garage, and it also kind of radiates into the home, reducing my heating bill. So instead of just wasting the heat, this is reusing the heat. There's a lot of even more useful and intense ways to do this, but this is as easy as it gets. All right, another miner. Never dull moment. This pretty much completes my IceRiver collection. Who knew that I was going to be the IceRiver collector guy? I didn't even think they were a real company when I first saw their launch. So in this case, I've actually got this thing running in my garage, and I want it to warm up my garage a little bit more than it is. It doesn't use that much power. So you can see actually in this clip, it's using less than 1,200 watts, like at the meter. But let's log in and we'll come back to that. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the login name is admin. And I'll just save this for whatever reason. So this is remoting in, right? You got to get the IP address, use an IP scanner, log into your router. Right? I get notified when new devices join my network. It's very easy. I punch in that IP address. It brings you to this web dashboard. You can do this on your computer. You can do this on your phone, but it is a much better experience when you're on the computer. There's really not much to do here, right? I put in my mining pool information. For example, I'm mining on NiceHash, which is essentially I'm mining Bitcoin, right? Kind of. I'm mining the Kaspa cryptocurrency, but my mining pool is automatically exchanging and paying me out in Bitcoin. I'll explain more about why I'm doing that later. But it's very simple. I got the mining pool information there. I got my wallet address, worker name, and this stuff goes straight to cold storage. So currently with the fan running at 50% and how cool it is, it's actually not getting as warm as I would like in there. So I'm going to bump the fan speed down to 30%. And that'll decrease my power draw a little bit. But I actually want this thing running a little bit hotter because I'm trying to enjoy some of the heat. And 1,200 watts is not that much, right? That's 1/3 the power consumption of the latest generation of Bitcoin miners. Like our WhatsMiner M60S was pulling 3,500 watts. Naturally, that's gonna suck up some juice. So you can see how I have it set up here in my garage or my little test bench before I move it to my mining farm. Right, it's plugged into a PDU, and the cable I'm using to plug in the power connection is going to be a C13 C14 connector. That is what this calls for. You need in particular the C13. The other side of that cable can be really anything you want, as long as you're running on 240 voltage. This does not plug into a normal wall outlet in your house, even though, okay, the power consumption would be well within the means to do that. The power supply is not rated to do that. I've talked a lot about these PDUs recently. They've been a good experience from Altair, right? So we have a referral link, and more importantly, we have a coupon code VoskCoin, right? Save some coin, punch it in, and use it. But these are really cool because they give you watt readouts, they give you voltage, they give you good data. It's an L630P, right? So that's a L630 plug, and it plugs into an L630R. If you noticed on the wall, I had a meter box, right? And we did just collaborate with them, fun holiday thing. So we have our limited edition release, and we have the 120 volt version and then the 240 volt version. So it automatically prompts you if you add it to your cart. And we do have same VoskCoin code to save some coin with them. But I bring this up, right, just to show you what I'm using. I'm not trying to push gear on you or whatever. This is like a fun, exciting opportunity to be able to collaborate with these companies and offer these things. But this is the season of giving. Okay, so if you're watching this video right after it comes up, make sure to participate in the giveaway one because it helps good cause, right? Whoever wins, $1,000 going to their charity, and some people are matching hundreds of dollars of additional contributions to that. So it's a good cause no matter who wins, and there's a bunch of miners up for grabs as well. In particular, there's 4 IceRiver KS2 Pros. So this may be your way to get into Kaspa mining and get some cool stuff along the way. So other than that, when you look at the miner, right, we got power, and we just went through that whole elaborate setup, and obviously we need Ethernet. So you saw the power line adapter, you see the Ethernet connection. I'm running internet over my power lines in my house. It's quite literally plug and play. It's so easy. But I'm going to be removing that, and I'm just going to be adding a router, an extension to my mesh network, and I'm just going to run Ethernet out of that, and that thing can actually be powered by 240 volts, so it's going to be powered right by the PDU, and it'll give me a cleaner setup. And I don't need to add anything. I'm kind of tired of expanding and building and changing things. I want to chill for a little bit. So let's talk about something else that's pretty cool on the topic of chill. That's going to be the earnings. The KS2 is a cash cow. I mean, there's no other way to put it. These Kaspa ASIC miners are ridiculous. They are so hot right now. They are so profitable. They're flying off the shelves. Is it the right move? We'll talk more about that later. But let's talk about the real world mining profitability. I've been watching this thing constantly over the last day. And, as of right now, it's earning between $35 and $40 a day. Right at this current time, we're making $39, projected here. You can see some of the other models. This is the Antminer KS3, not the IceRiver KS3, but I also have the IceRiver KS3M, the original KS0, the KS0 Pro, and the KS1. So all these earnings are really like exactly what you would expect. The KS0 Pro is twice the hash rate of the KS0, and it's earning quite literally double. It's pretty much the same situation right here. You can see the KS2 is actually a little underperforming compared to the KS1 and what we're getting paid at here on the mining pool. So we just bumped up to 41. So let's go ahead and, so if I was mining $36, it'd be 254 coins a day. We go 41 coins, 289 Kaspa coins a day. You think it's got a bright future? You think that there's a big upside? That could be really exciting, right? Kaspa market cap doubles, goes to whopping 6 billion. Well, then if you hodl those 289 coins, well, you'd have $82. That would be valued at 578 currently, right? Obviously. But let's not forget that in my situation, I'm kind of hedging myself against Kaspa, against these miners, for better and worse. with Bitcoin, right? And let's not forget that Bitcoin can absolutely double too. Kaspa's been on a tear. It would have been better holding Kaspa over the last year. But moving forward, I mean, Bitcoin's got a lot of room to run. I mean, we've already poked our head over 40 grand. Like, just put this into perspective and think about this. This is really not that far. We're only 38% from hitting a new all-time high. Bitcoin only needs to go up about 50% and we'll be approaching a new all-time high, or at least touching the old one. And remember, it didn't stay at 69 for very long. So I think we are well on our way to just crush right through $100,000 per Bitcoin. But, we'll see. Time will tell. Previous cycles have shown, right, that, 10x's or more were possible. But as time goes on, the multitudes of those will continue to decrease. So I think we're looking at a 5 to 10x top on this cycle. TBD, run the data, whatever. I don't care if you agree or not. It's just my quick 2 cents on that. And you take from the low, right? We're looking towards like 160 grand Bitcoin top of the bubble, right? But we'll have to see kind of how quick it gets there, the market sentiment and everything else in between. So what does the future of Kaspa mining look like? A lot of people get too fixated on the now, but what does tomorrow look like? So the hash rate's ballooning on this coin, obviously. Everyone's trying to make miners. Everyone's trying to get miners and set them up and deploy them, whatever else. We look back towards April, right? And the network was about 1 petahash. That's around when I got my first KS0. Crazy. That thing was making 25 bucks a day when I got it. The KS1, which is 10 KS0s essentially, makes less than that today, but still earns a lot more than it burns in electricity. The point is, it's become 87 times more difficult just based off network hash rate to mine the same amount of coin. Also, understand that Kaspa reduces the output of their coin monthly. It effectively halves annually. So actually, tomorrow, the amount of coins per block is going from 155 down to 146. And we look over the next year, right? We look at next December, there will be 73 coins mined per block. So understand, unless Kaspa just goes on a freaking rip and tear, worth billions and billions and stays there, these miners will not have the longest lifespan. If we zoom out even further, right, and we look at a 2-year projection, in December 2025, there will be 36 coins mined per block. Let's say almost 37 coins mined per block. In December, right now, there's about to be 147 coins mined per block. That's a big decrease. It's going to be super interesting to see how this all plays out. But let's not forget that Kaspa is putting out nearly $2 million in newly mined coins per day. It is the second most profitable coin to mine right now, right? We could cut the amount of coins mined in half, which is what will happen over the next year. And if nothing else changed with the market cap, it would still be the third most profitable coin to mine. That should illustrate how big this market is to you and really the potential staying power. And then there's this Carlson, which is basically the shitcoin version of Kaspa that is already putting out $250,000 of newly mined coins per day, $7 million market cap. And they've committed to GPU mining. It'll be funny to see the way that one goes. So maybe you're hyped and maybe you want to grab one of these. You go over to IceRiver, right? And you'll find out that they're sold out. These things are flying off the shelf. So really, resellers are going to be your main play here, but even they are struggling to get, quantities, right? We look at the KS2. We got ours from ASIC Marketplace. They've been a pleasure to work with, and most importantly, we're getting these miners fast from them. That's making the difference. So, sold out though. So you just got to click the link. And 1, it supports the channel. 2, punch in code VoskCoin to save some coin, right? Support yourself and support us. Why not? It's win-win. But this one's sold out. Should be back in stock, but we'll see. So we look at the other options, right? We see a KS1. That's an option. And really, the only reason to buy the smaller miner models are going to be based on your budget. If you look at the KS2 pricing, right? It's twice as powerful as the KS1, but it's not twice as expensive. It's a better buy. But you may not have $6 grand to throw at a miner, right? You may have $4 grand. Well, then the KS1 may be a good option there. Or even a much more simple Setup is you just grab a bunch of KS0 Pros. These come with power supplies. You can plug them in anywhere in your house. You just gotta make sure they got internet, right? And there's the KS3 from them. There's the KS3L, and it's the KS3M that they are making in bulk. Okay, this is the one everybody's scooping up, and we've got one of those. It's been a great performer. The actual best Kaspa ASIC miner you can buy if you have the budget, in my opinion, is going to be the Antminer KS3. They just puked out all kinds of different models with all this Kaspa madness. Originally, it was the 9.4 terahash second. Then they dropped the 8.2. Then out of nowhere came the 7.3 and 9.1. I don't know anyone with those yet, but they have all these different models. So ASIC Marketplace says that they've got the 7.3 in stock, 15 grand, right? You want to get the 9.4, 22 grand. It doesn't really make sense dollar for dollar to go for the 9.4 at that price, right? Maybe it makes sense at the end of December batch, right? You got to wait for it. You're going up 2.1 terahash a second for essentially 4 grand. But I said best miner, and I'm saying that based on efficiency, right? And density and the overlap with Antminer parts, which is a big thing as you start to try to scale a mining farm, especially something I've noticed with my, the VoskCoin mining farm. But you look at that price and you look at that hash rate, and if you're gonna, really go big here, you may as well go with the KS3M, because you can get this in stock or end of December estimate batch here, right, for 9,300. So you're just getting a lot more hash rate for the dollar. IceRiver has clearly tried to make this their bulk unit, their breadwinner. And let me tell you, they're moving a lot of these. All right, so the profitability has been good, right? And that checks out. It's a new day, new shirt, right? And so let me show you that, right? So you can see that, pretty much on par with where I expected and hoped and wanted to be. What's interesting though is my KS1 is consistently outperforming my KS2. It's just simply doing better. The KS2 is slightly underperforming. This is one of the first miners I ran in my actual house. So, you saw in the garage, and I had the power line adapter. I may have been, I don't know if it's coincidence. This is kind of on the fly, right? But basically, I was getting between a 10 and like 84% rejection rate. And when it would get a rejection rate, it would kind of just stick with it. So I would restart it. And then I had like 84 at one point, another 80 something at another point, a 34 at another point. Then you can see this screenshot I took, it was around 10% rejection. I don't really understand. If you look, I'm trying to connect on Brave to this device, but it's not working, right? And look at the IP address, 192.168.474. So I try to connect on Google Chrome, and it works on my phone. I've switched from the power line adapter to another Eero, which is like a mesh network, right? Every Eero in my house is hardwired except for this one. So this one is connecting, right, through a Wi-Fi signal to another one that is hardwired. So it's not jumping wireless. The area is relatively small in our house between these devices, so I'm not too worried. Rejection rate, is gonna be all that matters here. This is a typical, to be expected rejection rate for an IceRiver miner. I'm also really confused with what's going on. This is something I need to figure out and troubleshoot. I haven't had this issue until like yesterday. So I just remoted into my mining farm, right? And I'm trying to access another one of another IceRiver miner that I have. And right now I'm just double checking that the IP address didn't change or something like that, and I still have the right device. So, if we look at my IceRiver KS3M, okay, so this one's gonna be, and this is not the one I was trying to access. This one has an IP address of this, and I gotta connect, and it's not working. So this is all so weird. I'm just gonna go power cycle this stuff and go from there at the farm, I guess. But here's a Jazz miner. It's on the same Ethernet switch that all of these other IceRiver miners that I'm trying to connect to are. When I connect, I remote right in. So I don't. These are some new weird issues. But if I wasn't able to solve this rejection rate, right, by switching over to this mesh network, then I was going to change my mining pool from NiceHash to F2 pool or another mining pool. I have a very high rejection rate on NiceHash with the Kaspa miners, especially the IceRiver miners. But you know, and when I say very high, I mean, you know, 1 to 2%. That's much higher than I want to be. I'm losing 1 to 2% of my mining profitability if that is the case. So this is remoting into the Bitmain Antminer KS3, and this miner, it does great on NiceHash. So it has a rejection rate of 0.13%. Anyway, you look at it, the Bitmain Antminer KS3 is a superior machine to the IceRiver miners. It is weird that this top bar is not populating data, but we scroll down here and we can look at the actual hash boards, and well, that's actually a pretty high hardware error, but it's not dragging it down that much. Oh man, you know, the more miners you get, the more problems you'll have. Just gonna go ahead and restart this one for the hell of it. But the bottom line is, right, I mean, we have overlapping in the power supply and stuff like that, but interesting to see nonetheless. But anyway, coming back over here to the IceRiver KS2, right? Getting a little frustrated and frazzled. This is the performance. We have it functioning as we, you know, essentially want. The whole point of going over to the farm and looking at these other miners, I wanted to show you, compare the other IceRiver miners from their dashboard for you. But I'm just not really getting that option right now. At the end of the day, you know, these miners are still online. These miners are still mining. They're earning. And I'm not going to lose sleep over it if that's the case, that's the situation. So if nothing else, just be aware of this, be advised, look out for this, and either switch your mining pool, keep restarting it, or switch how you are getting an internet connection to this device. And you know, the other takeaway here is just going to be that I've heard more and more people having more and more issues with the later firmware revisions of the IceRiver miners, whereas the earlier versions have been rock solid. If the earlier miners were great, why did they change the firmware? What have they done? To be frank, seems like nothing good. And if you don't have the earlier firmware, they don't keep the old firmware files on their website. And the other last final thing is you may be exploring maybe overclocking the miners, overclocking the devices. It's an interesting avenue, right? You could increase your mining profitability that way, but introducing aftermarket firmware from, you know, new or unproven developers, it's a dangerous game. And one thing that people either don't know or don't think about too much are that ASIC viruses are a real thing. And an ASIC virus can, you put it on there and you don't realize you're infecting your device, and then it'll go and infect all your other ones and basically take over your farm. The more miners you have, the more freaking scary this is, obviously. So, hey, never a dull moment. You know, what's going to happen, right? Some people are really kind of getting into Kaspa. It's a block DAG. It's not technically a blockchain. They're saying it's great tech, right? I've looked at it. It's interesting, but that's not what today's video is for. But the bottom line is a lot of people think it's here to stay. But a key takeaway on that is we've heard that before. And there's literally no use on their coin. It's a platform, but there's no ecosystem, right? It's like you have the most beautiful terrarium, okay, but there's nothing in it. It's just a glass jar, right? Obviously, don't take that too seriously, but that is the situation. You know, it's kind of like you could have the best media format, but if nobody's putting out movies and games on your media, it doesn't really matter, right? Let's not forget about VHS, DVD, whatever. So that's crazy. Some people, oh man, that's happening. Some people don't even know what a VHS probably is or seen one. Definitely haven't used one. I mean, even DVDs are kind of archaic. They're like, you mean a Blu-ray disc? I'm like, no, son. Back in my day, we called that a DVD. But anyway, IceRiver KS2, right? This is a good machine. And it really comes back to budget, right? For me, you know, having the VoskCoin side of this, the YouTube side of this, I should say, I've been on a quest to get all these miners. It's fun, it's engaging, and it lets me make all these different review videos, and then I just throw them in the farm. But from a more pragmatic operation of the VoskCoin mining farm, it would never make sense to buy all these different models, right? It would make sense to kind of hone in on one model. For example, like the KS3M. take that model and like that's the one you run with. You get a couple spare power supplies, deploy. Depends on your budget and everything. That's the bottom line. Is if my buddy's like, hey, I want to get into this, I'm like, buy the best one you can afford if you want to get into it, or whatever you're willing to put into it, right? When it comes to this stuff, ideally, like with anything in life, you put in what you can afford to lose and you hope it works out. Kaspa mining over the last year has been crazy lucrative. It's been the best coin to mine all year. It's been one of the best coins to hold all year. And the same goes to the year prior, right? Which is why you should subscribe, because don't forget we put out a GPU mining guide on this in 2022, and we've led ASIC mining coverage in 2023. 2024, well, I'm hopeful that we're inching towards the real crazy parabolic bull run. For me, I'm HODL City, right? I'm trying to stack as much hardware, as much coin, and deploy as much everything as I possibly can, because I truly think the next wave of good times are upon us. We're closer to a bull run than we are the deep clutches of a bear market. All right, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but looking at data, looking at cycles, that's what it shows. And it also shows that you better subscribe, because we have a CCO, a Chief Cycle Officer. That's going to be Tails Vosk. Okay, she holds 927 C titles on the VoskCoin YouTube channel, including being the COO, the Chief Owning Officer, right? 10 seconds of Tails, we're on every video. My name is Drew Vosk. You're on the VoskCoin YouTube channel. Please hit the thumbs up, share the video if you liked it at all. In the comments, let me know your thoughts and what you want us to make a video on next. Seriously, couldn't do this without you guys. I'll see you later.